Okay, good morning and a very warm welcome to HM4 407 Revolutionary Europe. This is the module where we will be picking apart the way in which the continent of Europe and indeed global politics more generally change profoundly. We're looking at the very end of the 18th century going into the start of the 19th. And one of the things we'll be arguing is that this is one of the most profound, not just political, but also cultural shifts in the history of continental Europe. It's a really fascinating time. And the nature of change that we're dealing with is not just on a grand scale, but it's also the rapidity of the change that we're dealing with. This can be quite a heavy module sometimes because the amount of political evolution that we need to cram into these 12 weeks is quite profound. But we do our best. And we do it in a slightly different way to some other modules that deal with revolutionary Europe, in particular dealing with the French Revolution, because we put so much emphasis on the cultural side of things. I make no apology for this as we get into week 2. Next week, we have what is now the very famous pornography session. Yes, we will be dealing with hardcore French pornography from the context of the French Revolution, and it is academically relevant. I promise you, it is. It will make sense when we get to it next week. Every single week for the next 12 weeks, I will be recording these short little introductory videos. We'll be filming it over the weekend. We'll be putting it up live some stage on Monday morning. And it will just give us a little bit of an introduction as to what we'll be doing each week. So this week, we'll be dealing with the introductory part of the module, but we'll also be thinking about a couple of the fundamentals that sort of underpin what we look at in this course, and that's revolution. Okay, so one of the things we'll be questioning in this session on Tuesday morning is, what is revolution? You know, what makes a revolution a revolution? When does a violent rebellion evolve into revolution? When does somebody getting pissed off about the price of bread at their local market evolve into revolution? That's one of the things we'll be specifically looking at, the relationship between bread and revolution. Is there one? You know, what's that relationship? So we'll be thinking about that. We'll be challenging you to think a little bit about what is a revolution in both a historical sense and a contemporary one. We like to try and cast this in a context of both then and today, thinking about where we can draw out the legacy of the concept of revolution in a historical context before swinging it back into, the legacy of it in a contemporary context before throwing it back into a historical one. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, for instance. Is that a revolution? Well, maybe not yet, but is it on its way to a revolution? Does it have enough momentum and substance behind it to take us to a state of revolutionary change? I don't know. That's one of the things we'll be talking about. The however to these videos is, whilst they will predominantly be focused on historical interpretation issues, we're going to be blending it with something else. So COVID is still going on, an unavoidable reality of day-to-day life as things stand. So for many of our modules, they are being forced off campus and literally into our homes. So welcome to my study. It is slowly taking shape. We've only been in this house for about a year, but we are getting there in terms of making it look the way it's supposed to look. A consequence of that is my study is home to many of the things that I love. So there are a lot of books in here about the French Revolution. They are directly relevant to what you're going to be looking at. In addition to that, though, we also have the Pokemon Sanctuary. I make no apologies for this. How many years are we? 21, 22 years playing this game. It's not going to change now. So for this year, for 1 year, probably for 1 year only, we're going to look to blend the French Revolution with Pokemon. And how are we going to go about that, you might think? Well, each week, probably, unless I get bored of this, we're going to be opening a set of cards as a precursor to each session. And these cards are going to impact what we do in the course of this module. So within these Pokemon cards, there are different degrees of rare cards. And what we pull from these packs is going to influence the way we develop this module. So when we open these, we're looking for 3 things. If we have a reverse rare holo card, we're going to be putting in a Pokemon Pop quiz. So for everyone we get in these 2, maybe 4 packs, depending on how motivated I'm feeling, we'll be popping in a Pokemon Pop quiz dealing with the French Revolution. It's going to be a little bit of fun. I don't know how much fun, but it's going to be a little bit of fun. If we get a full art rare card, this is less fun for you perhaps, but that's going to trigger a bonus reading. Okay, we're going to be drawing out some of the more unusual, rare narratives within the French Revolution, and I'm going to be giving those readings to you. Something a little bit unusual, something to test the boundaries of the revolution and that which you are familiar with, that which you're comfortable with. And I know I started this video by saying that next week we're looking at hardcore French pornography in the end of the 18th century. Does it get more obscure than that? I'm not sure I can make that guarantee, but I'm going to look for it if we get the card. But here is the real cherry on the top of this synergy of the French Revolution and Pokemon. If we pull a secret rare card or a full art rainbow card, I am committing to you to building performance pieces. Many times whilst I've been delivering this module over the years, I have committed to students that I would perform. This might be a song, a bit of acting, a whole host of other things that I said I would do but have never made good on. I'm making this commitment to you. If we get those cards in these packs, it might be a case of going out into the middle of Carmarthen Town Centre and performing the French Revolution in, not the French Revolution, the French National Anthem in full. I make that commitment to you. It might be a case of going to a disused church and performing one of Napoleon's stirring speeches. I make that commitment to you. There are a whole host of things that when it comes to the French Revolution, it comes to life when you bring it to life, yeah, when you perform it. So if we get those cards in here, we'll be putting in performance pieces into this module. I'm kind of hoping we don't get the cards, but at the same time, I do. And here's the final caveat to this. If we get, and I stress, doubles, if I get doubles of these rare cards, because I want them for my own collection as much as I want them for my entertainment and yours, if we get doubles of these cards, the person who produces the most superior submission for assessment 1 and then assessment 2 and the overall highest performer for this module, these cards will be going to you. Now, you may have no interest in these cards whatsoever. You can do with them what you want. You want to sell them, pass them on, give them to a younger sibling or a family member. The choice is yours because the card will be yours. So we are looking for doubles in these collections and they will be going to you. So whilst we talk a little bit about what we're going to be looking at in this week's session, we're going to be opening these cards as well and seeing what we get. So in terms of our focus for this week, this idea of what constitutes a revolution, we'll be thinking about some of the criteria, the classifications for a revolution. We'll look at examples in a historical context, so we might be thinking a little bit about the French Revolution and seeing what are the legacies of that? How does that influence what's happening in a European context? But I also want us to not be constrained by historical narratives in week 1. I want you to think about things that are perhaps more familiar to you. So looking at recent historical events. One thing that we've looked at in the past is Catalonia. And thinking about, well, was that a revolution? Is it a revolution? You know, if COVID didn't happen, would we be looking at a revolutionary state in Catalonia? You know, you've got politicians there who, Catalonian politicians, who have been looking to change the political landscape of Spain, but they've been arrested for it. Last card. What have we got? Oh, we are safe, and we did not... Nope, that's not a rare, so no Pokemon Pop quiz yet, no performance pieces so far. In Catalonia, we're sort of in a state of flux. There is a clear demand for political change. There have been referendums held which were declared illegal. Does that constitute revolution? I don't know. These are one of the things that we want to speak about. But again, this is one of the things I want to look at the Black Lives Matters movement as well. Because there we've seen large-scale public unrest, and we get this in the French Revolution as well. We start off with public debate. You know, generally speaking, the French Revolution starts as a pretty peaceful exercise in political discussion and debate. It accelerates dramatically, and I think we see that, or are seeing it, in the context of the Black Lives Matters movement. You know, pulling down statues in public spaces, that's not a common thing. Certainly not a common thing in a British context. And okay, momentum has kind of gone. We have shiny, but that is not a rare, so still no quiz. And okay. Well, that's nice. Fortunately for me, and unfortunately for you, it's not a secret, and it's not not a secret rare, but it is an ultra rare holo card. So we're going to be pulling out one additional reading. That's good. That's an exciting card. If you get a double of that, you should feel lucky for getting it. So pleased with that. That's a good start. This class is going to be bringing some good luck to us over the course of this year. We also see violence in the context of the Black Lives Matter movement. We talked a little bit about this in the induction event at the end of last week. Can't get into this third pack. One of the questions we ask about revolution is it inevitably violent? Can you have revolution without violence? And again, I'm not giving answers to you at this stage. These are things that we're going to be thinking about during the course of the session tomorrow. Again, I don't want to be talking about too much about Catalonia because we've sort of done that in recent years. But I really think the Black Lives Matter movement is... Ooh, hello. And that is... Yep, it's got a star. So that's our first Pokemon Pop quiz. So we'll be having at least one Pokemon Pop quiz. That's a nice one. And it's a shiny, but it's safe. It's safe. So that's the one we're looking for. So, one additional reading and one Pokemon Pop quiz. Last pack luck. What are we going to get? Are we going to get that secret rare? And do I have to perform something for you as part of this week? I'm kind of hoping not, because this is a busy week anyway. But let's see. So, as we come to an end of this little video, last pack, we'll see what's going to come out of it. Key questions to think about. And we'll probably be doing this in breakout rooms at sort of the midpoint of the session tomorrow. In those breakout rooms, I want you to be thinking about what constitutes a revolution. So, make use of a historical or a contemporary example. What makes your chosen example of a revolution? Yeah? What defines it as revolution? Hello, what have we got? Is that... No star, so that's just a regular one. Last card. Oh, okay, a Thievel. Okay, no performance pieces. I don't know if that's a good thing for me or a bad thing for you. Probably a little bit of both. But we'll be doing this every week until I get bored of it. So that performance piece might yet become. We've got lots more packs around here that you can't see it, but the table's full of unopened packs. So we'll see what's coming up. But we've committed to one Pokemon Pop quiz and one additional reading. I'm going to go and pull that out now. So some stage, I don't know, by afternoon on Monday, there will be an extra rare, not a holographic, but a rare reading for you to enjoy at your leisure. It won't be an essential reading, it will be a recommended reading. Back to tomorrow's session. The question that we are asking you to think about is revolution. What constitutes it? What makes it? Think historical, think contemporary. We've had some examples that sort of push the boundary of this. Do you consider the technological revolution as an example of revolution? If so, why? Is it because it's stimulating change? Well, how much change has to take place for it to constitute a revolution? We'll be thinking about all these things because as we get through the 12 weeks of this course, by the end of it, we'll find ourselves looking at a political situation that geographically, at least, is actually quite similar to that which we were looking at the start of the revolution. We'll actually have the monarchy reinstalled in France. So what really changes? Well, we're dealing with fundamentals and we're playing a bit of a long game here. We're looking not just at what's happening at the end of 18th century France going into the start of 19th century European history. We're thinking about the legacies of that over the next decades, indeed over the next century. What is the template that has been established for the concept of revolution, how people make change in their countries, and the way that impacts and is seen in their cultural landscapes. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let me know what you think. If this works for you. It works for me because it's fun and I have nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon. So I very much look forward to kind of seeing you via Moodle on Tuesday morning. Yeah, so we'll see you then. Hope you have a great Monday. Hope the first sessions that you have on Monday go really well. I guarantee that you will have 100% less Pokemon references in your Monday morning classes than you will do from this video and everything that takes place on Tuesday. I'll try and tone it down in terms of the Pokemon for the actual sessions, but this stuff's going to be in the background one way or the other. Anyway, nice to meet you all, and we'll see you again Tuesday.